You know that feeling when your AI coding assistant is a genius at writing, say, one little function, but then it gets completely lost when it tries to understand the whole project? Yeah, it's a super common problem. Well, today we are diving into an open source tool called Graphify that promises to fix that. The idea is to give your AI a GPS to navigate even the most complex codebases. So let's ask the big question, why do these incredibly powerful AI tools struggle so much with the big picture? I mean, they can see individual files, sure, but understanding how everything connects across a massive repository, that's a whole different ballgame. It's kind of like trying to navigate an entire city when all you have is a map of a single street. And this right here is the heart of the problem. Current assistants see a flat landscape of just code. They're completely missing the crucial story that's woven through all the documentation, the research papers, and even the architectural diagrams. They just don't have a real map of the territory, you know? No way to see how all the pieces are supposed to fit together. And that is exactly where Graphify comes in. It's built to be the solution to this very problem. The best way to think about it really is as a powerful GPS, one that doesn't just see the streets, the code files, but actually understands the entire city. It knows the landmarks, which are your core concepts. It knows the neighborhoods, which are the different modules. And it even understands the traffic flow, which is how data moves through the whole system. So what is this thing, really? Well, Graphify is an open source skill that basically inhales your entire project. We're talking code, docs, PDFs, the whole shebang. And it builds what's called a knowledge graph. Now, this isn't just some file tree. It's a deeply interconnected web of concepts that gives an AI assistant the kind of deep contextual understanding it's been missing all along. It's literally like giving your AI a brain for your codebase. So let's look at what this thing can actually do. First off, it's multimodal, so it can read everything from your Python code to your architecture diagrams. It automatically finds the, quote, main characters of your project, the most important chunks of code. And it can even flag surprising connections you might have missed. Plus, it plugs right into assistants like Claude and exports these awesome interactive graphs that you can explore yourself. Okay, so how does it actually build this incredible map? I know, it sounds super complex, but Graphify breaks it down into this really straightforward automated process it calls the understanding pipeline. And what's really cool is just how it all works together. Think of it like an assembly line for understanding. It starts by detecting all the files, then it extracts information using static analysis for the code and LLMs for the text. From there, it builds a knowledge graph using a standard library called NetworkX, which is just a toolkit for making these kinds of maps. Then it gets really smart. It clusters related concepts together using the Leiden algorithm, which is a clever way of finding communities in the data. Finally, it analyzes everything for key insights and spits out the results. It's just a really smart logical flow that takes you from a total mess of files to a clear, actionable map of your codebase. All right, that all sounds great in theory, right? But let's see how this thing actually performs in the real world, because this is where Graphify really proves its value. Let's start with a project a lot of you probably know, the HTTX Python library. It's a great test case, right? It's well known, it's moderately sized, and it's perfect for seeing if Graphify can quickly figure out the core architecture of a codebase it's never seen before. To do this, Graphify looks for something it calls God nodes. It's a cool name, but really, these are just the nodes with the most connections in the graph. They're the undeniable main characters of your software. You can think of them as the central hubs that everything else connects to. They're basically the heart of your codebase. And here's what it found in HTTPX. The God nodes are client, async client, response, and request. I mean, come on. If you know anything about an HTTP library, you know this is absolutely spot on. With zero human guidance, Graphify instantly identified the very heart of the project. This is something that would take a human developer hours, maybe even days to figure out in a large, unfamiliar codebase. Okay, so that's impressive for a pure code library. But what happens when you throw something truly massive and messy at it? Let's take the Carpathy Mixed Corpus, a huge collection of GPT framework code, attention research papers, and diagrams. This is the ultimate test. And, well, the results are kind of mind-blowing. 71.5 times. Before I even tell you what this number means, just take a second and let that sink in. In the world of AI efficiency, a number this big, well, it's a total game changer. So what is it? It's a 71.5 times reduction in the number of tokens needed to ask an AI assistant a complex question about that repository. And that translates directly into huge savings in both time and money when you're using large language models. We're talking about the difference between a query that costs dollars and one that costs just a few cents. And this slide really puts it all into perspective. Trying to query the raw repository might take around 123,000 tokens. But by first building that knowledge graph and then querying that, Graphify slashes the cost down to just 1,700 tokens. That's not an improvement, that's a revolution. It's like going from a horse-drawn carriage to a supersonic jet. So at this point, you're probably thinking, okay, this is amazing, but can I actually trust it with my company's proprietary code? And that's a fantastic question, and one the project addresses head-on. Right? This is the big one. It's a huge concern for any developer looking at a new tool. You have to know what's happening with your source code, where it's going, and who can see it. You just need to know that your code is safe. And the answer is incredibly reassuring. First off, it's MIT licensed, so it's totally free for commercial use. But most importantly, it never, and I mean never, sends your raw source code to an external LLM. It only sends semantic descriptions. There's no telemetry, no data collection, and it even has built-in defenses against common web vulnerabilities. It was literally designed for trust from the ground up so you can use it with confidence. So where does Graphify fit into the whole ecosystem? This table shows it really carves out its own unique space. You've got Source Graph, which is fantastic for code search, but it's not a knowledge graph. You've got Code2Vec, which works on function embeddings, but totally misses the overall project structure. And then there's Neo4j, a powerful graph database, but it doesn't create the graph from your code for you. Graphify is the only one that builds that multimodal knowledge graph directly from the repository itself. It really is the missing piece of the puzzle. So the key takeaway here is pretty simple. Graphify provides the missing link. It transforms a flat, disconnected pile of files into a rich, interconnected map of knowledge, a map that an AI can finally navigate and truly understand. And that leaves us with a final and pretty exciting thought. Forget just asking an AI to write a function for you. What new possibilities open up when your AI doesn't just see your code, but deeply understands its architecture, its history, and its purpose? What could you build then? I mean, the possibilities are just endless.